Hello and welcome to the Next Gen Racing YouTube channel for our second part of our Royal Ascot preview. Thanks so much for the initial support. It's only just been a day since our first video went up, but thanks for all comments and the likes and all the subscribers that have come in during our first video. We do appreciate it. Do keep subscribing and liking. We've got plenty of good content coming during the flat season. Hopefully we'll be up at Goodwood again for our Qatar Goodwood Festival preview. That was really good last year. Jack, are you looking forward to the final 3 days of Royal Ascot though? It looks like a cracking few days.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, everyone watching this, if you're watching this after Tuesday, they already had Persian Force win the Coventry by Eid. What a performance that was, eh? Looking at it back now, the last 3 days are a cracking 3 days. There's so much top class action coming and I can't wait to get into it.
God, you've cursed us now there. And it's quite exciting. Jack and I will be there on the Thursday of Royal Ascot. We've only literally just confirmed that we'll both be there on the Thursday. So we'll be in the Queen Anne enclosure. So if you do see us, do come over and say hello. We'll probably buy you a drink or something. But it'd be lovely to see some of you guys out there. Let's kick things off then with the racing. And we start off with a 2-year-old race over 5 furlongs. This is the Norfolk Stakes. It's a Group 2. Your market looks like this. Potash's brother, the Antarctic, is 7-2. Blackbeard 6-1, Tajala's 7-1, Clearpoint 7-1, Wallbank 8-1, Noble Style, and Aesop's Fable 8-1. Even got loads at 8-1. Little Big Bear, Maria Brownwell, Persian Force. A lot of those aren't going to be going though. And then 17-2, 10-1, roughly bar those. God, yeah, there's plenty in there at similar prices. Might be a bit of an open race. The horse that I've actually noted down for this race, Jack's told me will most likely be going for a different race. It was going to be Crispy Cat going for the Windsor Castle, so I will fancy that horse on Windsor Castle because we won't be previewing that. But Jack, I'll have to let you take things away here. Who do you fancy?
Yeah, so of course, look, you look at the Antarctic, of course, full brother to Batash, determined attitude. I put it down last time out in Ace. Clearly has lots of raw ability. He's definitely not the finished article. Of course, he's a 2-year-old, but I think his price is based on his breeding and how he's a full brother to Batash, and I don't think he probably deserves actually to be favourite. I think one of my best bets of the week actually comes in here, and it's the Richard Fahey trained Clearpoint, who is available at 9-1 in a couple of places. Which is good. I know it says 7-1 there, but we've got a couple, but I think it's just so glaringly obvious that I may just be barking up the wrong tree. It's Richard Fahey, of course, who won it with perfect power last year for the same connections, going for the same race. I mean, I think it just looks too good to be true. I think he was nothing short of electric last time out at Ayr under a hand and heels ride from Oshinor, and I mean the way he travelled and kicked clear, that was over 6 furlongs, so it's intriguing that they're dropping him back in trip, but he looked so speedy that day, and I mean he recorded a good time as well for the final 3 furlongs. Richard Fahey is confirmed this is the plan. Of course, they've started him over 6 furlongs, which is intriguing enough that they're dropping him back in trip, but I thought he screamed speed, and the minimum trip I think would look perfect for him. I think he's definitely going to be one of the last off the bridle if he has the turn of foot and fair play, but I think 9-1 is a cracking price about him. I know these 2-year-old races have only had 1 or 2 runs, and one can improve £10-15, but I mean perfect power did it last year. They know how to come here and to win it. I think Clearpoint looks a cracking price at 9-1.
Yeah, I did watch that race, Clearpoint. In fact, it's great to see Oshinor getting these opportunities with Richard Fahey. I think after the Paul Hannigan split, this seems like it's, you know, the new stable jockey for Richard Fahey, but he's been riding plenty of winners, Oshinor, for Fahey, and I'm pretty sure the kind of all the messages that you hear going around is that Clearpoint is Richard Fahey's best 2-year-old going forward. They're quite excited by this horse, and yeah, has an excellent chance in the Norfolk Stakes. Let's move on to the Ribblesdale Stakes, Group 2 over 1.5 miles for the 3-year-old fillies. Emily Upjohn is your 11-8 favourite here. Not certain to turn up, but could turn up. Sea Silk Road, your Height of Fashion Stakes winner, is 7-2. Concert Hall 5-1. Life of Dreams 5-1. Prosperous Voyage 8-1. Tuesday, the Oaks winner 10-1, along with Above the Curve, Tranquil Lady with the Moonlight, Magical Lagoon 10-1, and History's 12-1. We're looking at 14-1. Bar those in there. It's probably quite simple to say with the market the way it is at the moment. If Emily Upjohn turns up, we haven't actually discussed the Oaks in the Derby, but the Oaks, she was obviously very, very unlucky. Was going to go and win it. Tuesday did pull out plenty in front, don't get me wrong, but Emily Upjohn, had the start not been the way it was, and had the horse had not to come as wide as she did. Would have easily hosed up in that race, I'm pretty sure. If she does turn up, she wins, Jack, and 11 to 8 would probably look like a good price, wouldn't it?
100%. I think if she goes here, she probably goes 7 to 4 on like that in a heartbeat. But look, John Gosden's won 4 of the last 5 renewals, so you kind of have to respect whatever he runs here. If Emily Upjohn doesn't run, I think you have got to look at Belt Buckle as well. Has the 2 runs under her belt. Didn't like Lingfield last time out in the Oaks trial. Was slowly away. Keen throughout, ran green as well for the final 2 furlongs, but I think she may be able to take a step forward. John Gosden clearly knows how to send them here, looking at Loving Dream last year, who didn't really look like much in the Oaks trial, but then of course came and won. But I also think, personally, I think if Emily Upjohn doesn't go, I think Sea Silk Road will actually be the one to beat. I know that she's going to be favourite, but I think she'll probably go off about 5-2, and I think she'll probably get the job done. I think she looked quite classy when winning at Goodwood. I know it was testing conditions, can be a lot for the old 2-year-olds on their first start. I think she'll definitely get further, but she just looked quite powerful that day. I think she had a powerful stride. She did it in good style. I think Tom Marquand knew what he had under the bonnet there, and I think if Emily Upjohn does go, she'll win. If not, I think Sea Silk Road takes all the beating.
Okay, yeah, interesting. I mentioned Emotion in the first preview that we had for the mile and 3/4 race. If she does turn up in this race on good ground, I think the horse will have an excellent chance. Obviously, the former Sea Silk Road in the same race, obviously a change in ground may be the difference with regards to Emotion. It'd be wherever she turns up, I'm probably going to have a small bet each way on her. Emily Upjohn, like I say, a very, very talented filly. Looks like she could be heading, down a similar route to Enable. Maybe obviously not as good as Enable. We'll have to wait and see, but could end up in the Arc at some point. She's very, very exciting. I think just quickly while we mention Emily Upjohn, we might as well, because we don't do a review show anymore. If you want to see a review show on this channel, let us know. But we haven't talked about the Derby either. Desert Crown, unlikely to be seeing Desert Crown at Royal Ascot. I'm pretty sure he's in some of the markets, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be skipping that. How good was he?
Oh, it was electric, wasn't he? I mean, 3 furlongs out when Richard Kingscote brought him wide, and he was travelling like an absolute dream, and he kicked 4 lengths clear in the blink of an eye. You look at Westover, how unlucky he was. I mean, there was a few back in the field. I thought Nahani was staying on. Masakela, we put up Masakela as one of the 2-year-olds to follow. He's gone and finished 4th in the Derby. I never thought he'd be staying that far. And of course, you can't get away from mentioning Huya Ma, where you put him up at 200 to 1.
I can't believe that. I mean, it's unlike me to put up a big price, and I swear to God, if he had won, I would not have stopped. Your little arc bet onto Catatasso would have looked like nothing, wouldn't it, 80s?
Yeah, I know, but goodness me, what a pick that was. But yeah, Desert Crown is clearly very exciting. It's great for the sport to have such an exciting kind of cult coming through. I mean, as you watch the sport, that's exactly what you want. You want your Baids, you want your Desert Crowns. You couldn't wipe the smile off my face. I was playing cricket at the time, but I managed to be in the clubhouse. Luckily, he didn't bat that day, so I was watching the Derby in full force. Yes, Westover was unlucky. Was he going to beat Desert Crown? Absolutely not. A lot of people said he would have got close. I don't think he would have, to be fair. He'll go to the Irish Derby, may win.
He would have been a clear second, wouldn't he?
Oh yeah, 100%. But I think Desert Crown was way too good.
Yeah.
He still had a lot under the bonnet, I think, and hopefully onwards and upwards.
Yeah, that classic trial at Sandown could end up looking quite good, as Jack and I were discussing earlier today about the Irish Derby. I'm going to be heading over for the race, but yeah, Westover and Cash, the horse that was second that day, they could be interesting horses, so 2 to potentially focus on. But yeah, if Westover, a lot of people thinking that horse would have won the Derby, should be winning that Irish Derby, looking at the moment with ease. Let's go on to the highlight of day 3. This is the Ascot Gold Cup, Group 1 over 2.5 miles. Kyprios is your 130 favourite, Stradivarius 4 to 1, Trushan 5 to 1, Scope 8 to 1, Princess Zoe 12 to 1, Mojo Star 14 to 1, Broom 16s and 20 to 1. Bar those, which is the French raider Scazino's in there. One horse we'd all love to see win during Royal Ascot week is Stradivarius. It's clear to say, no matter who you've backed in that race, if he's coming in with a chance and your horse is beaten already, you're going to be screaming the house down for this lad, and he will get his big day of the season. But it won't be here. I have a feeling. I feel like it's going to come at Goodwood. I've got a feeling he has a story in him this season, like a big headline story, and I think Goodwood could actually be it. And I think he'll probably go off similar odds for the Goodwood Cup, where he absolutely loves him. But I just think Kyprios will win this. It is a very good field. I think it's a very good Ascot Gold Cup. I'm going to be really excited to be there. But this also had obviously a long break since the run in the Lingfield Derby trial last season. It had its setbacks. But since then, it's come out this season, looks exceptional at Navan, and then even better at Leopardstown. 14 lengths and went away. I think the further this horse goes, the better he is going to look. Trushan, I don't want to say anything too controversial. I like Trushan as a horse, Like, I do, but I can't ever back Trushan. I don't think he's as an amazing stayer as people sometimes make out for him to be. I'm not saying he's bad at all. I think he's very talented, and I think he's very exciting, and I've got a lot of praise for him. But I just think that this horse relies too much potentially on the ground. It being soft, can win on better ground, obviously, but I just, when you see these stayers and these champion stayers, you want to see them do it on, standard flat ground, which is kind of your good, potentially good stuff. And Stradivarius will fit into that billing. I'd love to see him do it, but I just think Kyprios, potentially the young pretender, is going to be the one that goes and do this. What about yourself?
Yeah, completely with you. I think he's the typical 4-year-old who's up and coming. He's still unexposed, and he could stamp his authority on the staying division, as Subjectivist, of course, did last year. I mean, he hit the line strong in the vintage crop. As you said, it was pretty much a penalty kick at Leopardstown. He was 10-1 on, but he did it in good style. Look, he's a brother to Falconate and Searcher's Song. He's definitely going to stay. I think, as you said, the further he goes, the better he's going to get. And I think one that you can't forget is Mojo Star, who hasn't been seen, of course, since when failing in the Arc, but he was second to Manobo at Newbury, second in the Derby, fifth in the Irish Derby, in a luckless Irish Derby for him, staying on second in the Ledger, and of course hated the ground in the Arc. If he gets better with age, and he does mature, and prefers it as he gets older, further as well, I think 14-1's an interesting price, so I'll definitely be keeping an eye on Mojo Star, but I think Kyprios is definitely the one to beat.
Yeah, Kyprios here, like I say, a young pretender Fraden O'Brien could go on and be a very talented stayer. Let's go on to the Hampton Court Stakes now. This is a Group 3 for the 3-year-olds, over 1.25 miles, and your... should I say it? Yeah. Your banker of the week turns up here. This is your Jubilee Royal Ascot winner, Your Majesty. Reach for the Moon is your 5-4 favourite. Bluegrass 6-1. Point Longsdale 6-1. With the Moonlight 9-1. 10-1 Royal Patronage. And then we're looking at 12-1 bar those. And I say this Reach for the Moon is going to be the banker of the week. Obviously, I'm not going to go up too short with regard to the likes of Caribus or Baid. But I think 5-4 is a fair price. John Gosden, only literally about 5 minutes before we came on in the Racing Post, said he'd love to have a winner, and what a great feeling it'd be to have one for Her Majesty during this time. And I've just got a feeling the way this horse ran at Sandown, both the Gosdens said that this horse was not ready for Sandown. There was plenty to work on that day, but I think if you're taking that by word and the way that this horse ran, I think he's going to be a real tough horse to beat in here. I think Bluegrass is very talented, and I think Point Longsdale's very talented. I'm not sure if Point Longsdale's definitely going to be going.
No,
here.
he's definitely not going.
Definitely not going, yeah, exactly. So I just think there's not too much for Reach for the Moon to beat. Obviously, this horse was going to be touted up to be a Derby contender last year as a 2-year-old. Hasn't quite happened, but I think this has just been a plan, obviously, for a big Royal Ascot winner for Her Majesty. She's got plenty of chance. Obviously, she's got King's Lynn, who could actually run twice in the week, but I just think Reach for the Moon, Jack, this is the one for Her Majesty during Royal Ascot.
Yeah, I think you're right. Look, if you look behind, you got Bluegrass, who's probably going to go over further. I don't think he's going to come here. Point Lonsdale doesn't come here. With the Moonlight's not good enough. John Gosden was screaming from the rooftops how he was going to come on for the run at Sandown. And let's not forget, he pushed My Prospero all the way to the line there. If he was 60-70% fit, it was a cracking run, wasn't it? He was 6.5 lengths clear of Aku Nanchler in third. So look, he's definitely the one to beat. I think, as you said, 5-4, 6-5, whatever the price is now. It's still a very, very fair price. I'll be interested to see if Martinstown comes here. I think he's probably going to run over 1.4 miles in the King Edward the 7th instead. And Hannibal Bass is another one that would be interesting. I think they're probably going to head to the Irish Derby instead. But if he comes here, I'd be interested. But look, I think it's pretty much a penalty kick for Reach for the Moon.
Yeah, Reach for the Moon. It'd be really nice to see as well, after we've just had the Jubilee weekend, for Her Majesty to have a big Royal Ascot winner. Let's go on to Friday then, and we'll kick things off with the Albany Stakes, a Group 3 for the 2-year-old fillies over 6 furlongs. Your market looks like this: Statuette 7-2, I want to say Morge 4-1, Meditate 4-1, Dramatise 5-1. I got it right this time. Queen Ollie 8-1, 12-1 bar those in here. This is actually a race I'd probably like to avoid. I've looked through this race and it's actually one of my least favourite group races of the week, to be totally honest. I think O'Brien will probably win it, but I think he'll actually win it with Meditate. I think she'll be the one that goes and wins this. I know that a lot of people were impressed by Statuette, but I was also very impressed by Meditate when she ran. What about yourself, Jack?
Look, I completely agree. This isn't a race that fills me with confidence or joy, if I'm being honest. 11 of the last 12 winners were drawn 12 or higher, so I think that's a big thing to look for. Sandrine was actually the one who didn't last year, of course. But look, Statuette, of course, closely related to Tenebrism. definitely going to be a handy sprinter. Interesting to see Tenebrism running in the Coronation, which we'll get onto instead of the Commonwealth Cup, which was confirmed. But look, she hit the line strong at Navan last time out. She'll probably take another step forward. If she definitely goes here, I'm not too sure. But Breege is another one for the John Quinn team that'll be interesting to see if she runs here. I think it was a tidy performance on debut. Hopefully she'll take another step forward today in this. But look, it's not a race I'm too fond of.
Okay, yeah, the Albany race that Jack and I really would like to leave alone potentially for the week. You won't be seeing a bet from either of us in the Albany. Let's go on to a race where I definitely think we'll probably both have a strong opinion. This is the Commonwealth Cup, a Group 1 for the 3-year-old sprinters over 6 furlongs. And your market looks like this. Perfect Power 5-1, El Caballo 6-1, Go Bears Go 10-1, Tenebrism, who Jack just mentioned, not going to go here by the sound of things, 10-1, Twilight Jet 12-1, Slipstream 14, 16-1. Bar these. I mean, on the notes, obviously, with regards to Tenebrism, you had 2 horses in here initially who were very similar in Perfect Power and Tenebrism. 2 horses that went for their respective guineas, stepped up in trip, didn't quite work, and they were both going to drop down. However, it's interesting to see that Tenebrism's going to stay over a mile. Very fascinating to see why they're doing that, because it looked like she'd be better suited to this race, but we'll get your opinion on that in a second. Perfect Power, definitely going to be suited by this. They obviously, it's not a mistake, is it? They ran well in the Guineas with Perfect Power, but they know this horse is going to be sort of decent over a 6-7 furlong trip in time. It'd be interesting to see whether they do go for 7 furlongs. Something like a Lennox would be lovely. I love targeting Goodwood races, but the Lennox could potentially be, as a 3-year-old, getting the weight allowance would be interesting. The horse I think is the wrong price in here is Go Bears Go. I think this horse would like a strongly run 6 furlongs. I was at Ascot when this horse ran at the start of the season. Really impressed by the way he ran. Obviously, last time out, I think was very, very unlucky. Go Bears Go came out the stalls, got a bit of a bash in, ended up on the wrong side, and things just didn't go as planned. I think if he does get his race run to suit, I just think that potentially 10-1 might look too big over the Ascot trip. And Go Bears Go, I think he'd be one of my better bets on the Friday. What about yourself here, Jack? Talk us through with regards to Tenebrism. I know we'll probably discuss her in it on the next race in the Coronation, but take us through what your opinion is on Tenebrism going back up or staying at a mile.
It's very interesting. I think she probably screams more Caravaggio than she does of her dam, so I think she's more speedy. I think she could be one for 7 furlongs, perhaps. I think she's probably going to be a sprinter because she looked all speed last year at Newmarket. But then again, I mean, if you look on her debut when she won over 5 furlongs on soft ground, let's not forget her dam did win the Coronation. So it'd be interesting to see. Personally, I think they've probably gone for the wrong option, but what do I know, eh? I'll never challenge Hayden O'Brien to that. But yeah, for me, this is the race of the week. I think this is an absolute cracker. You've got Perfect Power, who's top class on his day, of course. Does have question marks, then being retrained from something who's going to try and get a mile to now being back to sprinting. I think he's a lot more comfortable as a sprinter, mind you. You've got El Caballo, who's campaigned very similarly to Dragon Symbol last year, I thought. But I mean, keeps on improving, keeps getting better and better and better. But I mean, you can kind of make cases for 5 or 6 here.
You could.
I'm definitely going to go with Eraz though, who I just think's on an upwards curve. He's been a little bit hit and miss thus far. Was of course in the Commonwealth Cup trial when 3rd of 4 that day, but I mean, he was very impressive when coming down the near side at Newbury when finishing 2nd last time out. And I mean, he was a little bit unlucky. Didn't really get any. Yeah, should have run it. I mean, the last 3 furlongs were 33.54 seconds, which were much quicker than anything on the day. And I was looking back card through card, and you got to go back a few meetings at Newbury to find a faster 3 furlongs than that. I mean, he has a very similar profile to the 2018 winner for Shadwell Ecuador, who I thought was very interesting, who was the lowest rated winner of this ever at 107. Of course, Eraz is only off 106. So, I mean, Ecuador, finished 4th in the Carnival at Newbury. Of course, the same race that Eraz finished 2nd in last time out, but it was a staying on 4th. I think there's very, very similar similarities there. Again, it was a different trainer that day, but of course, Jim Crowley did ride. So, it'll be interesting to see if Eraz can take another step forward. You've got the likes of Twilight Jet, who I think it looks like he's matured, put New York City to bed in good style last time out. So, I think he's got to be respected. Slipstream, the American Raider, I was very impressed with last time out when beating Twilight Gleaming in the Palisades. I think think he's got to be respected. But look, I'm going to side with Eras, but I'm going to be watching it and licking my lips.
Yeah, I think Eras would be an interesting one, because when I was at Ascot, that horse was travelling the best of the lot, and you could probably think that Jim Crowley thought there was plenty under the tank, and just due to the fact that the horse's first run of the season, potentially didn't find as much as he wanted to. Then we saw at Newbury, like you say, the horse found plenty, didn't quite find it in time, but they obviously think there's plenty in the tank with this horse, and the form of that race could turn out quite good at Ascot with the Commonwealth Cup trials. So go Bears, go for myself, and Eras for Jack. Let's go on to the Coronation Stakes now, Group 1 for the 3-year-old fillies over a mile, and this is a lot of people's probably banker of the week. Homeless Song's your 5-4 favourite, in Spiral 3-1, Cachet 7-1, Mongoustine 9-1, Prosperous Voyage is 10-1 and 12-1. Bar those in here. I've got down on my notes that Homeless Songs will just win this, and the reason that I say that is because we have Inspiral coming back here, who obviously was the anti-post favourite for the 1,000 guineas. Bit of a setback, but now the horse is ready to come out and show what she can do in the Coronation Stakes. But have you not got this feeling that if you're backing Inspiral, you're backing her to be one of the best fillies we've seen for a long, long time in it?
Yeah, 100%. It kind of reminds me of Masters of the Seas a little bit. I know it's slightly different, but Masters of the Seas finished second in the Guineas. But a lot of things improve past you when you're 3 and you have so much time off. I mean, in Spiral, they were saying she may be back to her 2-year-old days. A 2-year-old in Spiral doesn't go and win this because everything else has been improving and improving. I mean, if you look at her form, of course, Prosperous Voyage was in her weight last year. Of course, finished second in the 1,000 Guineas. But I think after such a setback, you've got to be a brave man or woman to be backing her. I think, as you say, Homeless Songs, if it turns into a turn of foot contest, I mean, I think they will be left in her wake. I mean, she was way too good for them last time out in the Irish 1,000 Guineas. I mean, she travelled an absolute dream. I mean, your eyes can not be drawn to her coming round the outside of the field. Interesting to see Pizza Bianca's going here. The American Raider, of course, won the Juvenile Fillies Turf last year with Cachet back in the field as well, and Malavath as well. So the form of that's working out nicely. She didn't win on reappearance, but it'd be interesting to see her come over. And of course, Prosperous Voyage, she has the interest, the entry in the Ribblesdale as well. But I mean, she's just so consistent. She doesn't seem to get her head in front. But of course, she was staying on second in the 1,000 Guineas. If they do go off at a good clip, which I'm assuming Cachet will try and make all from the front,
yes,
hopefully she'll be staying on. Hopefully she'll be able to grab a place. But it's a very competitive contest, and I think Homeless Songs could be too good.
Do you think Homeless Songs will run if the weather stays the way it is at the moment?
Yes, yeah. I don't think she needs a bit of give in the ground. I think on good to firm ground. I think it only makes her turn a foot probably more electric.
Okay, interesting. Interesting the connections, potentially wanting a little bit of rain, but Jack seems to think that potentially on quicker ground she could still show that turn of foot. But yeah, if you're backing Inspiral, you are backing her to be very, very special. And I mean, if she does go and win this, fair play, that'll be a very exciting filly. I think that you mentioned Cachet there making all from the front. Obviously, was beaten in the French 1,000 Guineas by Mongoustine, who is going to turn up here. Do you not think Mongoustine's potentially a fair price at 9-1 as an each way player? What concerns would you have with Mongoustine?
I just think some of the British and Irish contingent, if you look at the likes of Homeless Songs, I think she just looked at, of course, it was a very bunched finish in the French 1,000 Guineas. I think probably if a Purple Pay decided to come over, that'd be very interesting after winning the Prix de Sandringham, was staying on that day. It just looked like a bit of a messy race. And I don't know if you can really look into the form too deeply. I know Cachet, of course, won the British equivalent, so you have to respect it. But I don't know about the form just yet. I wouldn't crab it just yet, but I probably have to see a couple come out and do well for me to properly consider Mongoustine.
You're in the same opinion as me that Homeless Songs would have won all 3 guineas if anyone she'd attempted.
Yeah.
Agreed. Which is a shame because on the anti-post preview I put Homeless Songs up for the French guineas at a decent price. But yeah, that never happened. Ended up picking the wrong guineas, but oh well. Homeless Songs is going to be the one to beat for myself and Jack. Let's go on to the final race that we'll be previewing on the Friday. This is the King Edward the 7th Stakes, a Group 2 for the 3-year-olds over a mile and a half. Osman Fleet is your 9-2 favourite. Westover 6-1, not going here, probably going to the Irish Derby. Francesco Clemente 15-2. Eldaroff 9-1. Reach for the Moon 10-1. United Nations 11s and 12-1. Bar those. Not one that I have got a real strong opinion on, but I do think that Osman Fleet is a fair price at 9-2. He was a big drifter last time out at Newmarket. ended up getting the job done, stayed on really well, did not have a clear run at all. Probably would have won by further that day. That was only over 10 furlongs. The step up and triple suit. I just think that, potentially this is one of the better Godolphin bets of the week. I don't know whether they've got sort of a real strong hand Godolphin this week. They've got some obviously Caribus, but I don't think they'll be winning sort of 5+ races this week. I mean, we've seen them in the past, dominate some of these meetings. I don't think they'll be doing that this week, but I think Ottoman Fleet might be tough to beat. Got a beautiful stride, and I really like this horse. But not one that I've had a strong look at. What about yourself?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the top of the market's quite tricky. You look at Francesco Clemente, where's the ceiling for him? The step up and trip should definitely suit, as it will Ottoman Fleet, as it will Elderov as well, or however you want to pronounce it, if they do come here over a mile and a half, which will be interesting. I did make a case for one at 40-1 here. But he's not going, I found out, unfortunately, from Charlie Fellows, which is a bit of a shame.
Happening a lot, isn't it? Not going, these horses.
So, but luckily I found out before. But I'm gonna stick with Lysander in here. Look, they may try and run him in the Hampton Court instead. I hope they try and stick him at a mile and a half. And I think he's just going to be a little bit forgotten about. He's 20-1 at the moment, which I think is actually still a good price considering how Connections did speak him up for the Derby. Let's not forget. But he just didn't enjoy the testing conditions at Goodwood in the Coptat Stakes. He still travelled delightfully, and I still think he found a little bit off the bridle. He was staying on that day. I think the step up and trip should suit, and definitely a firmer surface should suit. So I think 20-1, he's completely overlooked. If they go for the Hampton Court instead, then so be it. But I think Reach of the Moon's pretty much got a penalty kick there. So I do hope they try and look here, and I think he still could be a classy individual. So I think 20-1 is a good price. And a useless bit of trivia, if you wanted it.
We love a useless bit of trivia.
In 1936, King Edward VII inspected a lot of new aircraft for the war, before the war, and one of them was called the Lysander. So King Edward VII inspected Lysander.
I love that.
And Lysander's running in the King Edward VII.
I know someone at work that would absolutely love that. They love connections with names in races and stuff like that. But that is, I wouldn't say it's a useless picture. That's quite interesting that they're kind of connected. Fair play to you. So yeah, Lysander for Jack in the King Edward VII Stakes, and Ottoman Fleet for myself. Let's move on to the final day of Royal Ascot. We've got 3 races to preview here, and we've got the Jersey Stakes, a Group 3 over 7 furlongs for the 3-year-olds, and New Science is your 3-1 favourite here. Noble Truth is joining him at 3-1. Perfect Power 5-1, and then we've got Alflaila 6-1. Some of these names, I will. Still the glasses. Lusail 8-1. Mighty Ulysses has an entry here again. I'll discuss that in a second. 10-1. Along with Munada, it's 10-1 and 12-1. Bar those. Got some of the names. I'm gonna have to get used to some of the names, honestly. New Science is a horse last season you actually saw ran at Ascot, because I remember I went for our WhatsApp and our discussion with regards to this horse, and you said that this horse will be winning Group 1s on soft ground potentially. You said he's a Group 1 performer on soft ground. But look, we've got a horse here in Group 3, on potentially good or quick going. Do you think that potentially he could still go and do this?
Oh yeah, I think he's one of the bets of the week.
Wow.
I think he absolutely oozed class in the Pat Edry that day. He travelled delightfully, found lots off the bridle, and look at the bit of form. You got Angel Blur in second and Cachet in the third. You couldn't really want a better bit of form than that. I don't think he liked the ground in the Prix La Rochette, and he didn't really take a step forward about what happened in Meydan. I know I said I think on soft ground, but I actually think he may actually be better on a better surface, because he got back on the right track at Newmarket last time out, off top weight when beating Takara Bay in good style. I think it's a good horse on his own merit. So I think 3-1 about New Science. I think he is the one to beat by far. He's 3-1. There's not too much wiggle room in the price per se, but of course they won it last year with Creative Force. I think he absolutely oozes class. One that I'm going to be intrigued about as well is Dubawi Legend, who of course failed to fire in the Guineas. So it'll be interesting to see if he bounces back, slightly drop back and trip. They don't have a prize for him just yet, but hopefully Dubawi Legend runs a good race in behind New Science.
Okay, New Science, one of the best bets of the week, if not the best bet of the week. I had one each way in here, and it was Minada for Sire Bin Sarur, unbeaten. Hasn't run in anything that special, to be totally honest. Beat, I think it's Audience the last day in really good style. A horse, he's just got a really nice stride. I just think that potentially he could be a really smart horse in these Shadwell colours. I think that 12 to 1 roughly could be a decent each way, but I was very impressed last time out at Kempton. And he's definitely a horse I'll be following this season, but it looks like I won't be taking on new science listening to Jack there. Let's go on to the Hardwicke Stakes, which is a Group 2 over 1.5 miles for the older horses. Hurricane Lane is short here, 4 to 5. Awazi 7 to 1. Broome 9 to 1. Bay Bridge not going to be here. Your Beer, Third Realm, they're 10 to 1. Adayar not going to be here. Pile Driver probably not going to be here, 12 to 1 and 14 to 1. Bar those. So it looks like it's going to revolve around the top of the market potentially here, Jack. I know you're a big fan of Hurricane Lane, but am I being silly to say Awazi looks a new horse after being gelded? Beat Third Realm the last day. Third Realm since come out and won in really good style in the Tapster Stakes at Goodwood. And Awazi actually did. He's a horse who it looks like he could have been difficult last season, but now, just looking at that run, it made things look effortless, Awazi, and I've got a feeling that he could put it up to the favourite here.
I think you're on a different planet. I think you're on an absolute different planet. Hurricane Lane is absolutely different gravy to this lot. I mean, he was unlucky in the Derby, won the Irish Derby when all things looked against him, and finished third in the Arc. I mean, all roads lead to the Arc. I know he was having a morning gallop at Newmarket not so long ago. Charlie Appleby, he's in good working order. I think if he's at 50%, he wins here. I think an 80% Hurricane Lane wins by 4 or 5 lengths. I honestly think he's absolutely different gravy to this lot. I mean, I actually say Third Realm is probably going to get the better of Awazi. I thought it was a career best last time.
You're on a different planet.
It was yeah, I thought it was a career best last time out at Goodwood. I think hopefully he can take another step forward. Let's not forget he did beat Adayar back in the day last year. So it'd be interesting to see how Third Round goes. But look, I'm going to hopefully sit back and admire a procession of Hurricane Lane.
Hurricane Lane potentially won at 45, maybe one for the doubles and trebles, but I just have a feeling if I was a back of Hurricane Lane, I'd just be slightly wary of Awazi. I just think since been gelded, he just looks like a horse who's making things look a little bit more simple and look very good at Ascot. It won't be a match bet looking at the prices between me and Jack, but I've got a feeling that Awazi might not outrun his odds, but I think 7 to 1's a fair price as a win bet in there. For myself. Let's go on to the final race we're officially going to be previewing, the last Group 1, which is the Platinum Jubilee Stakes. This is a 6 furlong sprint for the 4-year-olds upwards. And your market looks like this: Home Affairs 5 to 1, Campanelle 7 to 1, Nature Strip 8 to 1, Creative Force 9 to 1. We've got Sacred and Golden Power 10 to 1 and 12 to 1. Bar those, and mate, this is one for the Aussies and Chris Waller. I don't know if that's offensive or not, but I've gone with it anyway. But I think Home Affairs can take this 5 to 1. Currently the price. 2 times Group 1 winner. Actually beat Nature Strip back in February. That was only over 5 furlongs, but it kept on gamely that day. I just have a feeling they're coming over for a winner. I think that Home Affairs is going to be it over Nature Strip in the King's Stand. And I'd love to see it. I'd actually love to see a load of nations winning. We'll have Czech Republic, we'll have France, we'll have America, we'll have Japan, we could have the lot. But yeah, I've got a feeling that if you're going to be backing an Aussie horse, I think Home Affairs is going to be the one for me. If it did come up softer, I think Creative Force would be fascinating in this race. I don't think, I mean, we don't have obviously the long-term forecast, and if you follow this channel, don't listen to us when we talk about weather, because we are awful. I'm going to say now, Glorious Goodwood, by the way, it's going to be raining the whole week for Glorious Goodwood. I'm just going to say it because I know it will turn the other way. Yeah, well, I'm not having that again. But yeah, it's going to be Home Affairs for me. Who for yourself, Jack?
For myself, I'm going to be with Sacred. They've chosen to come here instead of the Duke of Cambridge. I thought that she probably would have stayed a mile in the Duke of Cambridge, but she travelled an absolute dream, found a really good turn of foot in the Hungerford, which was a career best last time out. I think dropping back to sprinting, looking at it, of course, she won the Flying Childers. I don't think that's a bad option whatsoever. She's definitely on an upward curve. Of course, she's making her seasonal reappearance, so she may come on for the run. But look, Home Affairs, as you say, you've got to respect the Australian contingent, as you do Campanelli coming back to, of course, her home ground. Let's not forget she has a great record at Ascot, finishing second in the Queen Mary, and then winning the Queen Mary, and then winning last year as well in the Commonwealth Cup. So it'll be interesting to see how she goes. She's very consistent coming back over here with Irad Ortiz Jr. I know I keep banging on about him, but I think he's going to be such an asset for these American horses coming out of the gates, as they like to call them. But look, I think yeah, sorry about that.
So we had an Aussie accent and an American accent. They were probably both awful. We'll be listening to those back.
But I think Sacred's going to win the Platinum Jubilee now. No, I think hopefully. Sorry to anyone watching who's American.
Any American or Australian viewers, we probably don't have any.
I do apologise, but look, hopefully Sacred gets the job done and ends the week in good style for us.
Okay, Sacred for Jack, and I'm with the Aussies with Home Affairs. And that's it with regards to all of the group races that we're going to be previewing before we get our naps of each day, and also our naps, our next best, and our long shots of the whole meeting. Let's get the handicap selections from the 3 days. I've actually only got the one over the 3 days that I've looked at. Obviously the entries are a bit up in the air at the moment, especially with regards to the handicaps, but I've got one for the Britannia Stakes handicap, and it's Hoopert 50 in you. Gone up £10 for that last run at Haydock, and that day beat Mighty Ulysses. As I mentioned his name plenty, been entered in plenty of group races this week. I've got a feeling that £10 with regards to Hoopert 50 in you might not seem that bad. Could potentially be a group performer, potentially a group 3, group 2 performer in time. I think 12-1 is fairly fair. Fairly fair. But yeah, 12-1 for me. Hoopert 50 in you in the Britannia Stakes handicap. Any handicap bets for yourself?
One handicap, if he does go to a handicap, I'm a big fan of Grand Alliance, who finished 11th in the Derby. I mean, everything went wrong. He was slowly away. He was drawn 17 of 17. He was at the rear of the field. He may have finished 11th, but his final 3 furlongs were only beaten by the first 4 home. So I thought he did run on in good style that day. They may try and step him up and trip to the Queen's Vase. Interesting if they do decide to do that, but I think he's really well handicapped. I think he's still off a mark of only 98, and I think he's well handicapped off there. So if they do send him to the King George V, I think he'll have a good chance.
Okay, that's it for your handicap selection.
Yeah, that's all. That is all.
So I mean, there you go. Only a couple there from us. Now let's get our naps of each day then. I haven't really prepared myself for this, but let's start off with the Wednesday. Yeah. Who's your best bet on the Wednesday?
Thursday.
Thursday. Sorry, yeah, we've done the Wednesday. Who's your best bet on the Thursday?
Thursday, the best bet is going to be Clearpoint, who's 9-1 in the Norfolk.
Okay, my best bet on the Thursday will be the banker of the week, which is going to be Reach for the Moon. Not a great price, but we'll take it at 5-4 for Her Majesty. Best on the Friday?
In the King with the 7th, it's going to be Lysander, 20-1.
Okay, I'm going to go with the Commonwealth Cup. I'm going to say Go Bears Go is going to go and win the Commonwealth Cup. And on the Saturday, it's going to be obvious who you're going to say, but you're going to say it anyway. Go on.
In the Jersey, it's going to be New Science.
Yeah, you know you're very keen on that horse there. And I'm going to go with Home Affairs for the Aussies and hope that Home Affairs brings one home for them. That's it in terms of all the naps for each day. Now it's time for the big moment. We're going to usually we do a nap and next best on this channel. We'll get a long shot as well. Let's start off with the long shot, shall we? I think we're looking at horses at least 10-1 or bigger, potentially. Okay. I'm going to put up a horse that I put up in the opening preview, which is Urban Artist in the Copper Horse handicap. That's the final race, I think, on the Tuesday at 25-1 will be my long shot. You're searching for a good one. Go on.
Well, it would be cheating for me to put Lysander up because he is my nap of the Friday. So it's going to be Primo Baccio in the Duke of Cambridge is going to be my long shot of the week. I apologise to everyone watching this, but it's one last chance.
You can't have a long shot as a lay. That's not allowed.
She's 20-1, Sam. She's going to drift on the day. She'll be about 33-1, and Ed Walker and I will be running up the road topless together.
Oh, but no one wants to see that apart from Ash Simmons. Oh God, I can't believe it. I'm going to have that quote as well in the morning, aren't I? That I think she's a Group 1 filly. I really do.
It's only a Group 2. She's still got a Group 1 to go.
Here we go. Right, my next best for the week is going to be Sibylla Spain in the Duke of Cambridge. I keep banging on about her, but I think 8-1 is a fair price, and I think she's going to go and do the business for France. Your next best?
My next best is going to be New Science on the Saturday at 3-1 in the Jersey. I think he's going to be way too good for them.
Okay, and it will be rude not for me to do this as my nap. One for Her Majesty. Reach for the Moon is the nap of the meeting. Can't wait to... Well, hopefully, I don't know whether she's going to be there or what day she's going to be there. It'd be lovely if she could do at least a day, and hoping it'll be that day where she sees Reach for the Moon screaming home under Frankie Dettori, and she'll be stood up in the box with a big smile on her face, and that'll be really great to come close to ending the week.
Yeah, I don't mind that. Of course, I could put up Baybridge as my nap of the week, but that's too obvious. It's going to be Clearpoint, the 2-year-old with only one run. Of course, me banking on 2-year-olds never goes well. But in the Norfolk, Clearpoint is 9-1.
Your nap is a 2-year-old.
It's horrible.
God, that's risky.
Horrible.
That is
Horrible.
Wow. Okay, that's it for our preview of Royal Ascot. Like I say, thanks so much for the support on the previous video. Do like and subscribe if you haven't already. Comment down below with your best bets for the meeting. Give us a few if you want. Put your nap in there for the whole meeting. We'd love to see them. We'll read through them. We'll comment and reply to some of them as well. Like I say, we're not sponsored at the moment. We're going for our best prices now on this channel. Prices may change depending on when sort of the videos upload, so we might quote a price, but we do apologise if it does change over the next couple of days. But yeah, if you haven't already, check out our previous video for day one as well. That was uploaded yesterday. But thanks very much for all the support. Thanks for watching, and we will see you very soon.